Canucks played hard, but it wasn't enough. The losing streak has reached 11 as the Canucks fall 4-3 to the Islanders. This is Rink Wide Vancouver. We welcome you inside the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. It's Rink Wide Vancouver. It's brought to you in part by Bet365. I'm Jeff Patterson. He is Tyson Cole. The last time the Vancouver Canucks faced the New York Islanders, well, they jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Kiefer Sherwood had a hat trick that night. Kefir Sherwood doesn't play here anymore. So he wasn't coming to the rescue. Canucks pushed to the end, but come up short. And I've run out of hands and fingers now. It's 11. 11 without a victory for the Vancouver Canucks, no matter how you slice it. 8 of them have come in regulation time, but it is winless. It's 11 where they have left the rink, and the other team has taken a victory off of this Vancouver hockey club. So try as they might, still can't get it right. And 4-3 is the final. Didn't mind the start to this hockey game. I actually was prepared to heap some praise on the Vancouver Canucks. But as they've done so often this season, Tyson, they find ways to lose.
Yeah, and I mean, I find it's very consistent over these last few stretches. Like they can never put a full 60 minutes together. It's always like they look good for a period and they kind of stay in it. And, you know, they get fans' hopes up like, oh, maybe they could break the streak tonight. But never usually happens, and then you kind of see them crumble. I thought it was actually a good move by management today because the only reason they beat the Islanders back in December was because of Kiefer Sherwood. So they get rid of him, so they ensured the loss like that.
Yeah, he wasn't going to play regardless, and may not play until after the Olympic break, he told me this morning, but he's
just
now
him on the roster.
He's now a San Jose Shark, and the Vancouver Canucks get a couple of second-rounders along with a minor league player. We won't call him a prospect. He's 25, and he's going straight to Abbotsford, and I don't think we'll ever see him in a Vancouver Canuck uniform. Really, it was just taking a contract back. In return, sort of the paperwork necessary to make the deal go down. We'll talk more about the trade as we go. And certainly, if you don't want to talk about the hockey game, the trade is fair game. And we would love to hear from you. Bring it with a Super Chat. And our Super Chat charity partner again this season, the BC Mental Health Foundation. And this was Hockey Talks night at the rink, all in support of mental health awareness. The BC Mental Health Foundation changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. Did you like the trade? Were you holding out for a first like the Canucks were? Had you come around to the idea that, hey, if a first had been on the table, they would have grabbed it by now? Was this the best they could have done? And as this hockey game goes, and we'll spend a little bit of time talking about the hockey game because that's what we do here on Rink Wide after all, but the losses do just kind of look and feel so similar. Now, the one on Saturday night didn't feel all that similar, except to the previous Saturday. But there have been a lot of these ones where, for 20 minutes or 40 minutes, the Canucks have been game. They've had some moments. Open the scoring. That's something that they haven't done very often, and they do it in the first 5 minutes. Lovely three-way passing play. Like, it really was a pretty goal. And good to see Nils Höglander back in the lineup and getting on the score sheet for the first time. And, sometimes secondary assists, you touch the puck in your own end and somebody else goes coast to coast. Höglander deserves the credit. Like, that's a lovely feed through the slot. How many times have we lamented the Canucks getting torched on the Royal Road passes? But this time they worked one in their favor. Höglander across the slot to Karlsson. A lot of guys would have shot there, but he had the vision. And a playmaker pushes it back in front, and Max Sasson gets to double digits for Max Sasson, who didn't even make the team out of camp, missed the first bunch of games while he was down on the farm. For him to get to 10 here before the Olympic break and with like a legitimate shot of 15, 16, 17 goals in the season, there's been a lot of bad in this Vancouver Canucks campaign, but, give guys like Karlsson and Sasson their flowers. They've got contracts because of it. I liked a lot about that goal.
Yeah, you got to give them their flowers, the Abbey guys, because I would argue that's probably the best story of the season so far, just seeing them develop, especially after going and winning the Calder Cup last year. But it's more than just the goal that Sasson scored. It's on that play. Like, he goes behind the net to pressure Tony DeAngelo, and Karlsson kind of meets him around the other side of the net there, forcing him to make a quick pass to Scott Mayfield, who's right in front of the net, and that's a dangerous area. So Scott Mayfield clears it to the corner right for Niels Höglander, and then that, like you said, you touched on this for Karlsson. I watched a lot of these guys play in Abbotsford last year during the run, and it was always Karlsson being the trigger man. Like, he led the entire AHL in goals during that playoff run. So now what you're seeing his playmaking ability over in Vancouver now, it's just grown so much that usually in Abbotsford, he would have ripped that shot,
Right.
and he probably would have scored because he's a lethal shooter. But, he takes the time, draws the goalie over, and then sends it to Sasson. It was a beautiful, beautiful play.
So the Canucks get on the board, 2:49 of the first period. It's 1-0. And then a follow-up shift from the line of David Kampf with Evander Kane and Drew O'Connor, and they absolutely swarmed in the Islanders' end. Did everything. Each of them had like a decent look in that sequence, didn't score, but sort of set the tone for what that line was going to do for the rest of the period, because even though Anthony Duclair ties the game midway through, wrist shot off the right side, beats Kevin Lankinen for his 10th of the season, but the Canucks come right back. Evander Kane gets a breakaway, doesn't score, but just the mere fact that Evander Kane was in behind the defense, and a decent look, but you're going up against one of the top goaltenders in the National Hockey League, and Ilya Sorokin. He makes the save there, but I like the fact that Kane stuck with it, didn't look disappointed. His line mates get in there and work the puck around, and sure enough, DPD back in the lineup, called up from Abbotsford yesterday. His point shot gets through, and Evander Kane, standing his ground in front of the net, gets position on Adam Pelech and is able to redirect the puck in behind Sorokin. Canucks take their second lead of the hockey game. Yes, the Canucks, who had gone so long without ever having a lead and then had a couple of leads in Montreal on the road trip, they get back in front at 2-1. And again, there were things to like sequentially in the build-up to that goal, too.
Yeah, it was, like you mentioned, that whole line, normally going into a shift, not a lot of people are going to get excited when David Kampf and Drew O'Connor and Evander Kane come over the boards. But like you said, it was right off the bat. I have written down here, David Kampf had 2 scoring chances in the first 4 minutes. In this economy, that never happens, right? And then the Evander Kane breakaway. And it seemed inevitable that they were going to score, even though I truly didn't really believe it. But they ended up getting it done.
I thought Kampf had one of his best periods as a Vancouver Canuck in that first period. Again, it's a 60-minute game. There were moments later that weren't as good as his body of work in the first 5 minutes, or in the first period where he played about 5 minutes. But he had an assist. He had 3 shots on goal. He had 4 hits, and he was 4-0 in the faceoff circle. You can't ask for a whole lot more than that from David Kampf. And he gets the assist on the Kane goal there. So, 2-1 Canucks after one period, and you're thinking, is this the night? Is this the night that the losing streak is going to end? No, it didn't turn out to be that way, but you were thinking it, or at least I was thinking it at the rate.
So was I.
And even when the Canucks, a little bit of good fortune there, and it was the right call, but Matthew Schaefer, and I do want to spend some time talking about the Wonder Kid, he's a dude. That was my first look at him in person. Was there for the first couple of periods, then got back here to the Rink Wide studio. Guy just gets it done. I mean, there's a reason he was the first overall pick. Mesmerized on a lot of the shifts, just the poise, the confidence, the skating ability, all that kind of stuff. But only himself to blame. He put himself offside, and then, they worked the 2-on-1 after the Besser turnover. Him and Holmstrom and Schaefer showing great patience there. DC boo him to the ice and slips it home. Thought he had scored. Not so much. In real time, I leaned over to Moj in the press box and said, I think that one's offside. He wasn't so sure, but Canucks were quick to challenge, and they got it right. Upon review, you could see Schaefer just a little too aggressive, a little too eager on the entry, was in ahead of the puck. So I don't think they've got anything to complain about there. They end up winning the hockey game, so it doesn't cost them, but it does cost Matthew Schaefer a goal and another point, but he'll take the 2 that he had and the victory.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be too upset about it because he scores goals like that kind of all the time. Like, he's half a season already of his rookie year, and he's probably got a handful of those highlight reel goals, kind of exactly like that, where he cuts to the middle. Wanted to ask you, what did you think of Bouillon on that play? Because he kind of gets caught a little bit. I thought he didn't do a bad job defending at first, but then he gets a little bit caught up right in front of Lankinen, and he tries his best to get his stick on there and block the shot and save the goal, but it ends up trickling in. But what did you think?
Well, I think, like you said, I mean, Schaefer is going to do that to a lot of guys in the National Hockey League, and Bouillon kind of bit on the shot fake, and at that point, Schaefer had him, and he just cut further to the middle. Even Lankinen, I think, was sold shot there, and that's what terrific players do. I mean, you use the art of deception. This guy, 2007 birth year, just bite on that. And interesting that Doug Armstrong, St. Louis Blues general manager, in attendance in the press box. Also the GM of Team Canada. And Schaefer has been named as one of the guys on the replacement list. And Armstrong's Blues were in Edmonton last night. They're not coming here as a team, but he hopped on over. And I do have to wonder, I mean, maybe doing a little scouting of the game itself. But without Bo Horvat, there's no Canadian Olympians in this lineup, on either lineup tonight. So what was Doug Armstrong doing here? Certainly was an opportunity to Schaefer, and I thought Schaefer was good. Although I was worried for him, one of his first shifts of the game, Evander Kane, like, absolutely caught him. Shoulder to shoulder, clean hit in the corner. Schaefer labored to the bench, needed the trainer to come over, clearly was feeling it. He may have missed a shift, but he stayed in the game and was a factor, but still, probably hasn't been hit that hard, that often in the National Hockey League. And again, whatever got into Evander Kane, I don't know if he saw, hey, Kiefer Sherwood got traded. Maybe, if I crank it up here a little bit. Game 49 for the Canucks, game 48 for Kane because he missed one, but I would say easily his most inspired game as a member of the Vancouver Canucks, and we'll talk more about his night as we go here because it's time for the 3 stars of the night, and they're brought to you, as always, by Greta Bar. And we always tell you about Greta Bar. What a great place for our Canucks Army watch parties. We've had a few already this year, and word on the street is there's going to be at least one more. Just finalizing some details, so we'll certainly let you know when we know and have everything lined up there. But all the street food on the menu, the drink specials, game day specials as well, all the arcade games that are there, a ton of fun, and it's always a great atmosphere. So go have a look for yourself. Greta Bar, the place to be, 50 West Cordova. Greta Bar, let the games begin. 3 stars as selected by the Sportsnet broadcast crew, Matthew Schaefer, Anthony Duclair, and Evander Kane. So Duclair getting shortchanged. I mean, he's the 2-goal man in this hockey game. I think we generally value goals a little bit more than assists.
I would agree.
Matt Barzal gets honorable mention because he had 2 assists as well. They were both secondary helpers, but boy, when he's buzzing, he is a ton of fun. That guy's motor, one of the great skaters in the National Hockey League. And remember, Islanders did this tonight without Bo Horvat, who is still runaway goal-scoring leader and Olympian. So they didn't have their best player, but they didn't need him. Duclair with the pair. Power play goal in the second period that tied the game at 2 moments before Ryan Pulock put them in front for good. But Duclair with 2 goals, 4 shots. Schaefer the 2 assists, 2 shots. He played 25 minutes and 4 seconds. And there is Evander Kane. And Tyson, I would have to go back and check, but I am going to say that this is the first time all season that Evander Kane has been among the 3 stars here on Rink Wide. And you look at his night in totality, it was the goal. 19 minutes and 10 seconds of ice time, 5 shots on 5 attempts. So where we've criticized him for just kind of blindly flinging pucks at the net quite often here, there was a little more precision in his game. On top of that, 4 hits. And so that's a pretty solid night at the office for Evander Kane. It's unfortunate that it took until past the middle of January. It's unfortunate that the goal total is still only 8 on the season, but with all these other guys that have been struggling, he scored in Montreal, he scored here, 2 in a week, that feels like a red-hot Vancouver Canuck.
Yeah, he's catching heat right at the right time, right when his name's in the trade rumors, No, just joking. But, I mean...
Seriously, if more games that engaged, and I could see some teams thinking, that kind of player might be able to help us down the stretch and into the playoffs.
Of course, and I mean... It's not even about what he necessarily does in Vancouver this year, I don't think, because look at how good he was in those back-to-back runs to the Stanley Cup playoffs with the Oilers. Obviously, you want to see a little bit of life like we saw tonight, but And that's what you're going to get out of Kane. You're going to get the heavy hits, and he's going to go after your best players. That's what he did on Matthew Schaefer. Like you said, he got...
But he hasn't been doing that this year, right?
Of course.
It's been pretty indifferent on way too many nights.
Well, he saw Kiefer Sherwood get traded, and he's like, oh, all you got to do is score some goals, land some hits. Maybe that's what I'm going to do tonight, and that's exactly what he did. But it was the only night so far, I believe, that he deserves to be on the 3 stars.
Well, there you go. So those are the 3 stars, same as the ones in the rink, just a slightly different order. Interesting, too, and look, you know the numbers. We give them to you every game. It's been a disaster on home ice. On top of 8 straight losses for the Vancouver Canucks, it's 8 straight losses at home now. 1 win in their last 14 on home ice and just 4 wins in 21 games now. And there's a lot of reasons for it. One, they're just a bad team. But part of the fact they're a bad team is because not enough guys have stepped up and performed. This is crazy to me that they're a game away from game 50 on the schedule. Mm-hmm. And that was just the second time that both Max Sasson and Evander Kane have scored at Rogers Arena.
Mm-hmm.
They've been road warriors when they have scored. For whatever reason, they haven't been able to convert at home. Sasson opens the scoring here. He also scored. He scored a nice goal. Remember, he blew past Bowen Byram when Buffalo was in town. Quinn Hughes' final game. Those are his 2 goals on home ice. And Evander Kane, I think his other goal at home came late against Chicago when the game was already out of reach. So this one at least a little more significant because it put the Canucks back in front at 2-1. But when you look at the home road splits, the home record is terrible. And part of it is because just not enough guys, and I'm not just singling these 2, there's nobody that has performed to the level of expectation for this hockey club. So they are what their record says they are. And overall now, 16, 28, and 5 are the Vancouver Canucks. Mika in the chat says, only young players for the rest of the season alongside EP40. We've seen what DeBrusk and Besser can do. It's funny. A couple weeks ago, it looked like Linus Karlsson and Elias Pettersson were going to get some leash and had some chemistry. And then, I'm not sure why, but Karlsson came off the line. We saw Liam Ogren get an opportunity. We're still waiting to see the 2 of them as bookends on an all-Swedish line. And I do hope that we get to a point in time that we get a look at something like that. So, a few more games with a little more life from Nils Höglander, and maybe he works his way up the lineup and gets an opportunity as well. Thought it was pretty fascinating that with the 6-on-5 set, I know people can criticize Adam Foote. I think he got it right tonight. He was looking for guys that were going. Yep. And it wasn't Brock Besser and Jake DeBrusk. It was Drew O'Connor who ends up scoring with the net empty. And Nils Höglander actually had some late shifts, which, he hasn't been in the lineup the last couple of games, but we're not used to seeing him getting those opportunities late in games, trying to get the tying goal. So I like that from Adam Foote. I haven't liked a lot of what I've seen in the way of coaching tactics, but I'll give Adam Foote some credit there. I think he got that one right with the guys that he deployed in that late game situation.
Yeah, it worked out for him because Drew O'Connor gets the tip on there. It was interesting, though, because like you said, we've seen this all season where it's always kind of been the top guys, even when they're not going, and Connor Garland wasn't out there, Brock Besser wasn't out there, and it was nice to throw them a bone, Nice to throw Höglander a bone. He finally gets a point, and he's been dogged the last 2 games, sitting up in the press box, hasn't been playing. Get a little bit of confidence going in him, and I agree. I would like to see, obviously we've spoken about this last time I was on here, but Ogren, Karlsson, and Pettersson, or even Höglander and Karlsson and Pettersson, because Höglander's that guy on the forecheck that can go dig pucks for you, retrieve pucks, get it to Pettersson. Linus Karlsson's going to be at the net front. He's playing top line or top power play right now at the net front, taking Jake DeBrusk's spot. So he's clearly got something going on right now, and he needs to have more ice time than what we're seeing on the 4th line.
Yeah, Linus Karlsson plays 12 minutes and 50 seconds, 10:07 of that at 5-on-5 or at even strength in this hockey game. Ogren was at 11.5 minutes. Höglander 11:36. So I'm just looking through. Max Sasson was the low ice time guy for the Canucks. He scored, but he also took a penalty in the second period, and it was a bad one. An offensive zone penalty. Puck had already left the zone, was going up ice, and he kind of stuck his foot out. The referee was looking right at him, and I know he wasn't happy with the call, but you put the ref in a tough spot, and it's just needless to do that. He took a penalty the other night against the Oilers. They didn't score on that one, but that's not going to help him get ice time. Scoring goals will. Taking penalties that they can't kill off, not so much. Now, I said they couldn't kill him off. They didn't kill off the Sasson penalty in the second. Canucks were successful in killing off a 5-on-3 for a minute and 39 seconds, and really was a 5-on-2.5 because early on, Marcus Pettersson's stick broke.
Yeah.
I mean, toughest situation maybe in hockey at that point. You're already down two guys, and now one of your defensemen without a stick, and he's trying to box out and not take another penalty. Lankinen made a save. A rebound came right to Pettersson. He didn't have a stick. I mean, nothing he can do. Play on. And so, the Islanders pressed as you would expect, but I thought the Canucks in that situation, Hronek battled hard. PD, Brock Besser came out late. They were able to get the job done. And so where penalty kill remains an issue, and the Canucks have given up a power play goal or more in 8 of their last 10 games. So it has been an issue here of late, but they didn't let the Islanders put the dagger in and finish them on that third period power play.
Yeah, I had this written down. It was, they showed it on screen. It was the 29th ranked power play against the 30th ranked penalty kill. I was like, who's going to win? And it was the Islanders power play, of course. I know Brock Besser's getting more penalty kill time because his defensive play has gotten better, but David Kampf was brought in here to be a penalty kill specialist and a face-off ace, and you're not using him right away on that 5-on-3. Like, sure you give it to Pettersson right away, but coming over the boards, instead of going Besser, instead of going Kampf, you go Besser. I'm just a little confused on that.
Yeah, hadn't really thought that one through. And I guess in the run of play, you're not needing Besser for a face-off at that point, and so you're leaning on Brock Besser's experience and sort of his hockey smarts. We know that foot speed, but you're not needing him to win races. But he's not a quick guy either. But whatever. I mean, they got through that one. So
it worked.
Yeah, exactly. So. And I guess that is the bottom line. Canucks did have a power play later in that third period when it was a 3-2 hockey game. Evander Kane with the shot from the right wing that gets through Sorokin into the blue paint, and guess who? Matthew Schaefer does it all. He's out there killing penalties as an 18-year-old defenseman in a 3-2 game in the third period. I don't think that puck on its own was going to trickle in, but it's anybody's puck at that point. It was loose, and Schaefer able to kind of shove it back under Sorokin and got the whistle. Petey was in the neighborhood looking for it.
Well, Petey did a good job when he was cutting through the slot, and he parked himself right in front of Sorokin and then turned around. So if Schaefer wasn't there, Petey likely would have seen the puck behind him and shoveled it in.
Let's get to the stat that stands out. As always, delivered by Uber Eats. And Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app. Every time the Canucks play at home, you can get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver, only on Uber Eats. From game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, or after the game. Uber Eats, assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Hashtag crave the stats. This one speaks volumes. We kind of jokingly talked about the 4-1 win over the Islanders back on December 19th, last regulation win for the Vancouver Canucks. Also the last time this hockey club has played with a 2-goal lead. It's January 19th.
Yeah.
That's a month. They haven't had a 2-goal lead in a month. They got up 1-0, declare ties it. Kane scores. Thought Schaefer had tied it, but he didn't. And then it goes, through 15 minutes or 14 and a half minutes of the second period. There were ample opportunities. Canucks had a power play at 2-1. Could have gone up 3-1, but they didn't. And then Duclair ties it, and then Pulock. And we really haven't talked, and I do want to talk about the Pulock goal. Yeah, I mean, look, offense has been hard to come by for the Canucks. They get 3 and they lose. That's tough for them. They got 3 in Montreal. Lost that one, obviously, as well, but getting shut out or held to 1 here of late. So they didn't have to generate offense, especially against the shutout king in the National Hockey League, a guy that gives up on average 2.5 goals. They got 3 on Ilya Sorokin, so they did better than a lot of teams do, but still wasn't enough. But that is something that it has been a full month of hockey now, and they haven't had more than a 1-goal lead.
It's impressive, but are you surprised?
Yeah, I mean, a bounce somewhere along the line. I'm not saying that a 2-goal lead would guarantee a victory.
Yeah, But they haven't held a lead in so long, really. Like,
not many.
Yeah.
The Pulock goal that comes a minute and a half after Duclair ties the game. So it's 2-2 at that point. Canucks are still there. No real damage done, and a period and a bit to go. Where we praised David Kampf for his first period. And he had company here. But Ryan Pulock is left so wide open as we watch this here. A stay-at-home defender. It's his second goal of the season. But Tyson, this is the NHL. Like, I don't care who you're playing or who you leave wide open. You give somebody at this level that much time and space to walk into the slot, chances are they're going to pick their spot and score. And that's exactly what Ryan Pulock did. Again, he doesn't score a lot, just his second of the season. But how in the world? Like, I mean, we ask this question almost every night. How did he get so open?
Yeah.
But how did he get so open?
Well, if you watch the play again, you see, I think it was just after a change. They're just coming on. But Carlson's the first one into the defensive zone, so he's taking the puck carrier. He's playing the F3. And then Niels Höglander's second in, and he does a great job to kind of cover the pass along the wall there with Matthew Schaefer. It's David Kampf that comes in, and he gets caught a little puck watching. I understand he's the defensive center. I get that. He's used to playing kind of down low, but he gets puck watching. He ends up in the right circle, like right in the faceoff dot, which then just leaves the whole high slot area wide open for Ryan Pulock, who, as you said, isn't necessarily a sniper, but he's playing in the NHL. If he gets time and space, he's going to be able to rip it, and that's what he did. And that's just a missed assignment from Kampf.
Yeah, and it gave the Islanders their first lead of the night, and then they added to that midway through the third. Tony DeAngelo, just his third goal of the season. It's incredible how many defensemen have been scoring against the Canucks. Montreal had 4 of their goal scores. Ottawa, both of their goals came from defensemen here. It's Pulock and DeAngelo. And on the DeAngelo goal, Matthew Barzal zipping around the zone, doing his thing, and they work the puck in front, and then DeAngelo just beats Tyler Myers, who's a beat late in his reaction, kind of spins himself into a circle and winds up flat in his face as DeAngelo was able to poke the puck home, and nothing Lankinen could do there. So unfortunate, but moves that we have seen from the Canucks essentially all season. And at that point, at 4-2 with half a period to go, I know the Canucks got one back, but just didn't have confidence, shockingly, that they were going to come all the way back and get something out of this hockey game.
No, you knew that right away. I just came to my head right now, Jeff. You have a great segment on here, stat that stands out. I have a stat that stands out because you mentioned Matt Barzal.
Mm-hmm.
He's played 13 career games against the Vancouver Canucks, his hometown team. He's had a point in every single game against them, total 21 points. In 13 games against his hometown team. That's you said Matt Barzal. It was on my mind. I had to get that out.
Yeah, pride of Coquitlam. I know that he had a bunch of family and friends in for this one. Interesting, too, that like the Islanders coming off a loss in Calgary the other day. It was an afternoon game on Hockey Day in Canada. They were the one American team that faced a Canadian opponent on Hockey Day in Canada, but it was the early start at the Saddle Dome. Islanders flew in, apparently had their rookie dinner here on Saturday night.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then Patrick Roy had them putting through their paces on Sunday. You give and you take, and they had a good practice, and they were ready to go here as they bounced back from the loss. They had beaten the Oilers 1-0 last Thursday. This was stop 6 of a 7-game road trip. So they've been out on the road for a while. They'll go to Seattle before they head on home. All right, we got a super chat from Canucks fan 9420. And he's in the trading mood. It says, trade EP40, trade Demko, trade Besser, trade Kane, trade every player over 25 they can for all the picks they can get. Well, I don't think anybody's trading for Thatcher Demko, who we heard from Patrick Relvin earlier today, is now scouring the planet for medical advice. Didn't rule out surgery. It kind of feels like that's where that one is headed, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. We'll see what doctors on other planets have to say for Thatcher. EP40 seems to be picking up some steam that maybe like when you look at it's such a thin crop of free agents this summer
Yeah.
that maybe teams are starting to look at different avenues with the raised salary cap and the fact that he's shown some signs of life here. If you listen to enough insiders, that it feels like there is some chatter now picking up in and around EP40. So they're not there yet, obviously, and he's got control of the process. So let's see where it goes. I think trading Besser would be difficult this season. Talk about a low of lows in the first year of the extension, and he got his goal in Columbus. Hasn't done much since. He had a shot on the power play. This Sorokin made a nice glove save, but Sorokin makes that save pretty much all day, every day. So, it was a scoring chance, but it wasn't like he was absolutely robbed. And then, Evander Kane. We talked about him a little earlier. That I still think it's going to be difficult. I think there's probably half the teams in the league that, reputation, his age, his lack of performance this year, that, wouldn't be that interested. He's got some trade protection.
Yeah.
It's going to take some maneuvering. I'm not saying it can't happen. I just think it's going to be a little more difficult to find the right buyer, but it only takes one ultimately. And if there's a team out there that thinks that that's a piece for, if the Canucks are willing to retain and there's not much of an acquisition cost here, maybe he goes. We'll see. But I think that one's probably closer to the deadline, even if people hope that the Canucks management's on a run now and on a roll. I think we're going to have to sit tight. But appreciate your support of the BC Mental Health Foundation, Canucks Fan 9420. Van City Ricky in the chat said, Jeff, have you forgotten how to dissect a Canucks win on Rink Wide? A Canucks what now? What was that?
I don't know what that word means. Haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah. I suppose I'm willing to do it because I don't want them to lose every game the rest of the way. Winnipeg lost tonight in Chicago, so no movement down to the bottom of the standings. Both the Canucks and the Jets sit parked with where they are. Calgary got a single point in an overtime loss to New Jersey. Devils coming this way on Friday. One time that was going to be all kinds of Hughes brothers. Right now it looks like Jack will be the only one on the ice because Luke left with an apparent separated shoulder, which is unfortunate
runs in the
for
family.
him. But yeah, and obviously Quinn doesn't play here anymore. So Canuck wins. It's been a while, and even longer on home ice. You were asking me, when was that last home ice win?
Yeah.
It was against the Minnesota Wild. Way back when, December the 6th, I believe, was the date of that one. So, feels like a lifetime, and now 0-2 here on this 8-game homestand. Another super chat. Boy, we appreciate
coming in tonight.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's all for a terrific cause, especially on Hockey Talks night here in Vancouver. Semi Windup says, when do they unveil the new management group?
It's like a new banner that comes down.
Yeah. Not in season, I can tell you that.
I don't think that they're going to. I don't think that you can let them make the Quinn Hughes trade and then reshape the whole thing. Why would you let guys who aren't part of the future, who aren't going to be making the decisions for you the rest of the way, why are you letting them make the biggest trade in franchise history or one of the biggest trades in franchise history? Just doesn't make sense. So I know fans probably don't want to see them in here anymore. They're upset about how everything happened and unfolded, but I think they're going to stay.
This is interesting, and we'll see. Hopefully we can get Adam Foote in his own words here, but Brendan Batchelor, the play-by-play voice of the Canucks on 650, tweeting out, and he was in the room. This is a quote from Adam Foote after the game. Our veterans are the ones that feel defeated first. It's been going on here for a few years. We get off our game, we get frustrated, we overcomplicate it. It's something we have to get out of our culture. Our culture is not going to be that anymore. So we've been waiting for him to call out some of the guys, and he hasn't done it by name, and he didn't here, but I think it's pretty clear who he's talking about when we talk about the veterans. And then we see what he does late in the game with the goaltender pulled, and guys like Besser and DeBrusk and Garland aren't on the ice. And, Connor Garland's a passionate guy. Like, I could see frustration getting to him. Brock's pretty stoic. And we know that this season has eaten away at Jake DeBrusk, but, he's not a demonstrably frustrated guy. At least I don't see that from him, but I know that when he's asked about it, this is killing him, all this losing. whatever the case, I mean, that's fairly strong words from the head coach who has tried so hard to be positive in the face of so much losing this season. So, to hear, we talk about culture all the time on the outside. You generally don't hear it from the inside. So,
yeah,
that got my attention.
That's interesting. And it's interesting that he said for a few years now. So, this is the first time, you're right, that we've heard him talk about the veterans and criticizing them in that way. And yeah, I don't know. Now you kind of read into, okay, like you said, late game, like Connor Garland only played 11 minutes and 37 seconds. If you want to play a game, who played more 5-on-5 minutes tonight? Atu Ratu or Connor Garland?
The way you frame that, I'm going to say Atu Ratu. But
yeah, that
is interesting. I mean, under 13 minutes of 5-on-5 ice time
under
for Connor
12,
Garland.
I have on here.
Oh, okay.
I might be wrong.
On the NHL box score, it's got him at 12:51 of even strength ice time. But this is a guy that was playing 23 and 24 minutes back before Christmas. And so, but, it's hard to argue. The guy didn't notice Connor Garland in this hockey game. And unfortunately, I haven't noticed him other than he came back. I thought he was decent in the game in Montreal. And really, since then, it's been pretty flatline for him, for a guy that, flatline is just not a word that you use to describe Connor Garland. All right, speaking of veterans, I do want to hear from Marcus Pettersson. He met the media after this one. So let's get inside the Canucks locker room. Here is Marcus Pettersson, after a 4-3 loss.
Yeah, I think so. I think, we're fighting hard. I think, it's a tough goal, and it's easy to, when you go through a losing streak, you kind of find ways to lose, right? But I think we can't stop up and feel sorry for ourselves. As I said before, I think our effort was there tonight, and unfortunate result.
Big 5-on-3 kill. What does that do for a team that's going through some tough times right now?
Yeah, we bear down on that. We didn't like the fact that we had momentum in the second kind of and gave up a shorthanded. That's kind of been our thing this year. Never mind the percentage, but timely goals on the PK that we give up has been a big issue for us. So that too, big kill for us, and take the positives and move on.
What goes through your mind when your stick breaks on that kill, and how do you sort of go through that?
Try to have big feet, I guess. It's. I mean, every time you lose a stick, it's tough, right? But I don't know. It was kind of. They try to overplay things then too, in a way, and just try to be in the way, really.
How about the start from your group?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of jump. I think this was a game where, the result didn't go our way, but if we're going to climb out of this, we're going to find the positives and adjust what we can and trying to win the next one. We're a competitive group in here, and
I haven't had a chance to talk to you since the trade this morning. Just your thoughts on losing Kiefer?
Yeah, it's a big loss for us. The energy that he brings every day. That's the business we're in. When you lose games, stuff like that is going to happen. And like I said, the energy that he brought every day, and his fiery play, we're going to miss. And how good of a person he is too. So it's always tough to say bye to teammates and friends. But like I said, that's a business we're in when you lose games.
All right, there you go. Marcus Pettersson, after a 4-3 loss, asked about that penalty kill and breaking his stick during the penalty kill. They got the job done, but on the night, they did not as a hockey club. 8 straight losses in regulation time and 11 losses, 0-9-2. This segment of Rink Wide, presented by the Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, a no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. You can drive up to 72 kilometers on battery alone. That's enough to get you from downtown to the rink to the grocery store and then back home to recharge. Seamlessly transitions from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers. No sacrifices when it comes to horsepower or style with its sleek, low, wide exterior and sophisticated interior, and it's loaded with tech that's actually easy to use. Right now, you can lease a 2026 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $109 weekly at 3.99% APR for 64 months with $3,300 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. What did we make of Kevin Lankinen's night? Shots finished even at 32 apiece. He wears number 32 for the Vancouver Canucks. Was ill over the weekend and able to back up, but they went with Nikita Tolopilo. He got shelled by the Edmonton Oilers, but they come right back with Kevin Lankinen tonight. And without Thatcher Demko, he's going to carry the bulk of the load here. There are games every other day, so no back-to-backs. I don't know if Yuri Patera is going to get an opportunity to play here or what they plan with Patera, but it's Lankinen, and he was in there tonight. When you look at the goals that he allowed, what did you take away from Kevin Lankinen's performance?
Yeah, I don't think it was a great night for Lankinen. I feel like there was three of the goals, I would say, two at least, where they were just seeing eye shots that he didn't stop. Like the Pulak one, I get it. He had a ton of time and space, but that's a shot from the high slot. That's from distance. It's one-on-one at that point, and he's so good in the shootouts and one-on-one, but from distance like that, he wasn't able to make the stop there. And even on the first one,
Yeah.
I don't think it was a defensive zone coverage breakdown at all by DPD, but that was his guy, and he was pretty tight to him, and then he's sliding over, and he just doesn't get there in time to be able to stop it. Duclair's second one, it was kind of a tic-tac-toe play. Like there could have been a defender in the way there to get a stick on that, so I'm not going to fault him for that one. And again, I think it was Myers and Marcus on the goal for the fourth one, and that was kind of a crazy play all over the place. So I don't fault him for that one, but it was okay. Like there was two that I would say that he probably wants to have back, but the other two, not so much.
Yeah, and I think I'm prepared to cut him a little more slack maybe than you were on the Pulak goal, but the Duclair one to open or to tie the game at 1 midway through the first, like Duclair snapped it. It's a good shot, but at that point in this game and with this team, like those are the saves that the Canucks need if they are going to snap this losing streak. And so
yeah, he was just a little late.
It's impossible to play perfect hockey, but it just feels like that's what it is going to take now for the Vancouver Canucks. And I just don't know that they're good enough to play anything close to perfect hockey. They got Washington coming in on Wednesday. We'll talk more about that game as we go here. We are hoping to get to Adam Foote. Yeah, let's do that. We'll get to Adam Foote, and then we'll get to our Bet365 line of the night, and then a thought or two on the Capitals, who are coming this way for their lone visit of the season on Wednesday. Here's Adam Foote, and we'll see if we get that quote about the veterans and the culture of this hockey club.
Adam, not the result you wanted tonight, but what did you make of the process and the performance from your group?
We had a great first period. Even in the second, our game plan, they're a team that's really good at holding their blue. They're not as good at when we get it deep. Their breakout off of forecheck's not very good. That was our game plan. It was working really well. We were disciplined on getting it deep, created a lot of offense off it. Couldn't get that one goal, and then I just, the second period, we got caught in our end there, but it seemed to me as soon as we got scored on the PK, we kind of got a little bit, got off our game.
What did you like about what you saw from some of your young guys in the forward group, particularly, Sassone and Carlson and that line?
They were great. They were good. They, they listen to the pre-scout, they listen to the game plan, and they go out and they do it, and they were hungry on the forecheck, and they created well tonight.
Talking to the guys in the room, we talked to Vander and Marcus, so some real veterans, about how they lead through this stretch here. What kind of positives are you trying to emphasize with this group as you try and get out of this skid?
Well, there's a lot of positives, and they've been doing a great job leading. But getting to the second period again, our veterans are the ones that feel defeated first. It's been going on here for a few years. We get off our game, we get frustrated, and we overcomplicate it, and slamming the gate and things like that. It's something we got to get out of our culture. Our culture's not going to be that anymore, and it just gets us off our game slightly, off our game plan, and for just a little bit too long, and it allows other teams to get a little bit of energy and come back in the game. And it's something we've got to stop. Like tonight, the good thing is it lasted about 7 minutes. We readjusted, came out with a great third period. Had a kill, that call, I get it. It was an intense call. It can happen. It might not happen, but it does happen in hockey. But I've been watching this for too long to say, we got to stop burning ourselves by getting frustrated. We've got to stay within the plan. The plan's working. And, it's our vets. And they gotta hang in there.
Well, to hear it from him, and he went a little deeper there about the slamming of the bench door and giving the other team life, and I do agree. It may sound like a small little thing, but it just kind of feeds right through a hockey club that is just circling the toilet bowl right now, and it can't be easy to play under these circumstances. I understand that. It can't be easy to fight through that frustration, but I hear what Adam Foote is saying, and I also thought there was a really telling quote in the answer prior to that where he was asked what he liked about some of the young guys, and what did he say? They listen to the pre-scout, they follow directions?
Yeah, I think Batch asked him about the line of Carlson Sasson, and he was like, yeah, they listen to the pre-scout. They listen to the game plan. It's like, okay, I guess he's kind of insinuating that veterans aren't doing that. And I've been awfully critical of Adam Foote, but I gotta give it to him there. I think that was his most authentic post game we've ever heard. That was good. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the frustration, because the fan base hears it, the media gets it. It's so frustrating in the room and all that, but let's hear you say it. Are you just a robot? You don't have any emotions. You don't care that you're losing and all this. I like hearing that stuff. I like how he makes his players accountable and all that. That was good from Foote.
We've got another super chat. This one from regular Caffeine Goes in Face. And we've mentioned that it was Hockey Talk night in the arena. Rick Rippon's brother Wes and Rick's niece out for the opening face-off. I think Wes did one of the television intermissions as well. And Wes has been a regular and a huge supporter of Hockey Talks. The super chat says, R.I.P. Rick Rippon, Hockey Talks tonight, such a good initiative. Nice to see it growing around the league. This super chat for Rick. So, hey, we appreciate that. Great sentiment. We echo it. And, commend the Canucks. And Kevin, we actually had a role in this early on. The movement has grown. Mm-hmm. And I think we have seen through the years that, and I think we've seen a lot of it this year, actually, where players are now feeling far more empowered to take personal leaves if they need to. And before, I think a lot of guys felt, for whatever reason, I got to play through everything. There are more important things than hockey. It is a game. I know it's professional sports and big business and all that, but whether it's Leon Draisaitl leaving the Oilers the other night to go back to Germany, Brock Besser took a leave earlier this, Kevin Lankinen. I think players are feeling far more empowered to do that, and there isn't the stigma that might have come along with it 10 years ago where guys are like, what are you doing? How can you leave the hockey club? Where are your priorities? No, I think this shows that guys' priorities are now in the line that they should be, and I think initiatives like Hockey Talks are driving that forward.
Of course, and it's just a reminder that, these guys are human too. They have lives. Then, sure, you could be upset because they make a bad play that leads to a goal against or whatever, but they got to take this home with them too. They're around the teammates, their fault. It could be their fault for the loss or whatever. So it's good. If it's not good when you see a player go on a leave of absence, but I commend them for doing that and stepping up and being brave to do so.
Busy day out on the rink, and it was a busy day yesterday. We heard from Philip Hedl and Teddy Bluger. Neither one of them played. Bluger might play on Wednesday. I think Hedl's probably closer to the weekend, but he's back practicing in his shed the non-contact. And yes, it looks like Philip Hedl is going to make a return at some point this week, as long as he continues to progress. And then, of course, today, Kefir Sherwood, he was dealt. Connor Garland came out and addressed that. We heard from Patrick Alvin on the trade, a bunch of other things. So lots going on down at the rink. It was a busy day this morning. Game tonight. So lots going on there. I want to get to the Bet365 line of the night, though. So we'll turn our attention from this game. What have you got your eye on around the world of hockey.
Well, at this point, I don't know why anyone's ever betting when I'm betting. I keep losing for them, so I genuinely apologize. And
Stop the streak.
well, I mean, the Canucks are on a losing streak. They're not giving me much hope of getting out of this one, but I take a lot of overs, and that's not stopping tonight. I'm going to over my way out of this. So I'm taking the over tomorrow in the Ottawa Senators Columbus Blue Jackets game. Look, there's some goalie controversy in Ottawa, as we talked about, which is perfectly great.
Yep.
For Linus Ullmark, he's taking a leave of absence. He's got some stuff going on. But that has resulted in Levi Marilainen, I believe his name is, and he hasn't been the greatest. And I mean, Elvis Merzlikins is expected to get the start for Columbus. Both some teams that are scoring some goals and allowing some as well. So we're going to be taking the over 6.5 there. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary. Bet365. Download the app and get it on the game. Use the code NATION when you get started. A reminder that you must be 19 years or older. Please play responsibly.
Want to welcome Pacific Blue Cross to Rink Wide Vancouver. And we're here to tell you that you have a chance to win the ultimate Canucks road trip. Get Pacific Blue Cross travel insurance for your chance to see the Canucks take on the Kings in Los Angeles, complete with flights, hotel, lower bowl tickets, and more. There's no purchase necessary. Contest ends February 28th, 2026. Enter now at pacificbluecross.ca/Canucks. pacificbluecross.ca/Canucks. And we'll be telling you about that contest here on Rink Wide in the games ahead. All right, so the Canucks pedal Kiefer Sherwood this morning. Kind of a funny scene. I rolled up for morning skate at 10:30. I was there at 10:15 or so. Drove into the underground. They let us park under Rogers Arena for morning skates. And Jay Janower from Global Sports arrived around the same time I did. So we were standing there and just chatting as Jim Rutherford drove in. And Jim's got the presidential parking spot. Nobody parks in his spot. So he pulls right in. And Jay says, let's just wait for Jim. So Jim steps out of his car, and Janower says to him, Jim, when are you going to start with the trades? And without skipping a beat, Rutherford says, we just sent Kiefer Sherwood to San Jose for 2 seconds and a prospect. And Jay and I look at each other, and we're like, seriously? He's like, yep. And so I've been at this a while. I have seen a lot in this business. I have never seen a trade broken in the parkade ahead of a morning skate. But that is where we first heard of the news, and then it got out in its usual channels. But for a moment or two there, got the scoop from the guy that made the trade, or at least signed off on the trade for the Vancouver Canucks. So kind of a funny moment underground at Rogers Arena earlier today.
Never a dull moment with Jim Rutherford.
No. We talked about it right off the top. Kefir Sherwood, I think it was inevitable that this day would come. They moved out Quinn Hughes, obviously, and I think once that happened, all bets were off, even if there were those reports that they had doubled back and were looking at possibly re-signing Kiefer Sherwood. Had they been able to get a first-rounder, they would have taken it. They couldn't, and so I think they made the best deal possible in getting a pair of seconds. Mm-hmm. I think the Sharks are going to be in tough to make the playoffs this year. They might. Getting Kiefer Sherwood, a healthy Kiefer Sherwood, will help. And, a good win for them with a goalie fight down in Florida earlier today. They're holding down third spot in the Pacific Division, so they're not even a wild card spot right now. That said, there's still a fair bit of hockey. And I don't know ultimately if the Sharks are going to remain a playoff team. So, if they fall out altogether, then that second is going to be relatively early in the second round. Canucks' own second round is going to be very early in the second round, almost like the first round with the Ottawa forfeiture of its pick. So, whatever the case, I think that, when you look at the trading partners, I think that might have been some of the thinking on the Canucks' part. The 2027 second rounder, who knows where San Jose, like a year from now, I think the Sharks want to believe that they truly will be above the playoff bar. So we'll let the chips fall there. But, all things considered, Kiefer Sherwood, pending UFA at the end of the year, they knew that they weren't going to be able to absolutely knock it out of the park. And so I think you end up making the best deal possible. I know Sherwood was appreciative that it happened now in January. He and his wife expecting the first child in April, and he said that was a big thing, that he just wanted to be settled wherever he was going. So this will give them a chance with an Olympic break and everything else. So I think, from a personal standpoint, Sherwood felt like the Canucks did right by him. It's unfortunate the Sharks are here next week, but Kiefer told me that he thinks he's probably out until after the Olympic break with a hand injury, and he was shaking everybody's hand with his left hand, the old awkward left-handed handshake. So good dude who gave it absolutely everything. And you talk about a team maximizing the value of a player while he was here, $1.5 million for each of his seasons, and the output, 19 goals last year, 17 this year, the hits, the effort level. I mean, this guy normalized just working his ass off. It's too bad others didn't follow his lead every single night. Like in his 2 seasons here, I don't think there was a night where you could ever accuse Kiefer Sherwood of not giving it his all.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty short list of Vancouver Canucks that you would say that about over the last couple of seasons. So sad to see him go. He's the kind of guy that in a perfect world you would want in your organization long term, but I think we all know the story here. So he had to go, and he has gone.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because in that last media scrum wrap up that he did, like you could tell, like it was. Sometimes you can tell when the writing's on the wall and the player just wants to get out of there. I don't think that was the case necessarily with Kiefer Sherwood. He was so appreciative because, like he said, he has worked so hard to get to this opportunity to go make as much money as he could. And that opportunity came in Vancouver. Vancouver gave that to him. They trusted him up in the lineup. They gave him the deployment that he needed to become what he is today. And what did he say? He was like, I just wanted to play playoff hockey in Vancouver, and it's a shame that he didn't get to in his year and a half here. But I just want to say, like, this is great work from management to be able to turn a $1.5 million player into 2 second-round picks and a team that might not make the playoffs, like a teetering playoff team. That's good work, and I know it's probably a little disappointing that it doesn't come with a first-round pick, but I mean, if you look at Mason Marchment, he's a more established player, kind of similar playing type, but Sherwood's obviously having the better year, and you get the better return for that. And I think it was a good return.
A few more super chats here. This one from Spetzilli, who says, "Shout out Pacific Blue Cross." Absolutely, to have them on our show, and we thank them for their support and your support of the BC Mental Health Foundation. Carl Spackler, his super chat says, "Need Brian Burke to swoop in for draft day, get McKenna and Stenberg for the Canucks, and then vanish into thin air." Yes, shades of 1999, the draft floor in Boston. I was there that day. It was incredible to be there in that moment, to realize what was happening on the draft floor. And sure enough, the Canucks end up with the picks that allowed them to draft Daniel and Henrik. So go back in time. Don't think it's going to happen, but I like the thought process here. And OG Master Troller says, "Please pull up to the parking lot more at the same time that Jim shows up." Hey, if it means more trades on the way, we'll try to coordinate that. All right, as we finish up here, Canucks lose 4-3 to the Islanders. Just a thought or two on their next opponent, the Washington Capitals. They lost 5-2 in Colorado this afternoon, U.S. holiday, so there was some matinee hockey. They got outshot 17-3 in the third period in what was a 3-2 game. Colorado just took over. We've seen the Avs do that.
Shocker.
Washington has dropped 4 of 5, just 3 wins in their last 10. And they do sit below the playoff bar in the East, so they're going to be hungry for a win and get back on track here in Vancouver. They're 24-20-6 on the season. Tom Wilson leads them in goals and points, but is out of their lineup right now.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Ovechkin had an assist earlier today. 20 goals on the season for Ovi. 41 points. So still finding a way to get it done. It's interesting. He was once at his height. His best power play goal season, he had 25 power play goals. He only has 3 this year. So where we always talk about the Ovi spot and, everybody knows it's coming, I think that has changed a little. Now, Jacob Chychrun launching bombs from the point changes the dynamic too. Chychrun scored today. He's got 18 goals as a defenseman, so got to mind him. And then, it's a good supporting cast, but not a great supporting cast. And you got the names: Dylan Strome, Alexei Protas, Ryan Leonard, Connor McMichael, Justin Sordoff, the former Vancouver Giant. Ethan Frank had a goal and an assist today. Here's your Ethan Frank trivia.
I might get this because I wrote about him to start the year. So go on.
A former teammate of Max Sasson's at Western Michigan.
Oh, you said trivia. I thought you were going to ask me. Dang it.
Did you know that?
Nope.
Okay. And I should admit, it was interesting. Mark Gatcomb played for the Islanders tonight. Didn't play a lot, didn't factor into the game, but guy that spent a couple of seasons out in Abbotsford. Max and Mark Gatcomb having a good long chat during the warm-up at center ice. So a little Abbey reunion. Gatcomb played 11 minutes for the New York Islanders. Charlie Lindgren was in goal for the Capitals today, which probably means that Logan Thompson will get the start here on Wednesday. Thompson's emerged, obviously, as their starter and maybe Canada's starter at the Olympics. Has 17 of Washington's 24 wins on the season with a 238 goals against and a 914 save percentage. So numbers that rival just about anybody else in the National Hockey League this season.
It's
when
kind
you're
of
32nd in the NHL, there are no easy games. We say that on a nightly basis here, and so the Capitals will be a challenge, but the Canucks did beat Washington, jumped out to a 4-0 lead way back when, and that was the night or afternoon that Philip Hedl got smoked by Tom Wilson, that Teddy Bluger got injured, that Jonathan Lecker-Mackey got hurt as well, and maybe, the Canucks would tell you, that might have been the day that their season changed.
Yeah, you stole the words right from my mouth because you talked about, they'll be hungry to kind of get close to that playoff bar, but they're also hungry because they lost to the Canucks earlier this season, and, that's kind of a blemish on their schedule with where they are and where the Canucks are at this point. But yeah, it's kind of odd that Teddy Bluger gets injured against the Capitals and
maybe comes back
against the Capitals. I saw someone on Twitter said that obviously Tom Wilson's hurt, but they were like, oh, if Hedl comes back against the Capitals, like that's probably not the best idea. He's obviously not coming back yet.
I don't like the idea of that.
I know.
So
yeah,
no, and I don't think Hedel's going to be ready to play on Wednesday. All right, the final word of the night goes to Borg9 in the chat, who says, "I like this guy in the flannel."
Hey.
Well, yeah, I'm solids here, so I guess that means you.
Right on.
I'm still
first fan.
Not sold, but we'll invite him back. No, it's been great to have you in the other night and again here tonight. At one point, you way back when were riding a hot streak that the Canucks didn't lose when you came in.
Yeah,
that was then.
Yeah, this is now. My hot days are behind me. I had a streak of Elias Pettersson scoring, and
right.
Now I don't know. I guess I'll own it. It's my fault. I'll be better. Get in on the forecheck and regroup and be back better for next game.
All right, that is going to do it for us here on this episode. Max Sasson, Evander Kane, Drew O'Connor with the goals. The veterans apparently getting frustrated. Coach doesn't like that. It's got to stop. We'll see if it does. So Wednesday, a 7 o'clock start. Irf will be back in that chair. Hey, Jacob Lazar, shout out to him, our technical producer behind the scenes. He's not just the guy in the flannel. His name is Tyson Cole. Co-worker, colleague at Canucks Army. You can read his work there. And if you don't already, check out Canucks Army. All kinds of great content on the website, canucksarmy.ca. CA or com?
CA.
Com.
It's com. CanucksArmy.com.
Only written there for 3 years. I should know. But CanucksArmy.com. Yes. Hey, it's late. All right. That is going to do it for Tyson. I'm Jeff. Thanks so much for hanging in there and checking out this episode of Rink Wide Vancouver.